I like when you guys suggest to check on a new Casio, because I am a Casio fanboy. Not the fanatic, I know they do a lot of mistakes, but I think there is no other brand quite like Casio. It has a deep spot in my heart. Because there is one category of watches that I thoroughly enjoy: affordable beaters. Robust, utilitarian, useful pieces that you can really rely on. Today we're gonna look at one such piece, and probably the most requested watch ever. I honestly have no idea how I dismissed this watch for so long. Well, I know a little. I generally prefer solar watches. It's just my thing. I have this weird anxiety where I imagine taking the watch for my holidays and the watch runs out of the battery. And this is normal battery switching Casio. Normal because the battery supposedly lasts for 10 years. That gives me and my vacation anxiety pretty good margin to work with. And plus, I am quite a sucker for negative displays. I always buy them because I really like the way they look, and almost immediately start complaining about them because how useless they are, especially on Casios. But then I saw this one in person. It felt strange, like foreign. There was something that kept me keep looking at it, and it took me a while, but then it hit me. This negative display doesn't suck. Not only that it doesn't suck, but it's actually good. On a watch for 30 bucks, I honestly should have gotten this watch way sooner. I'm not gonna say it's perfect by any mean. I'm not gonna say that it became my favorite Casio. Oh, that spot belongs to something else. There are genuinely things that I don't understand why Casio sometimes makes one way and sometimes the other way. Why sometimes they do things genuinely good, sometimes okay and sometimes straight bad, and sometimes things that make you hate them. This watch honestly has a little bit of everything. It absolutely excels in certain areas, it's okay in others, and it makes me hate it in some. One or two. But we will talk about it. Let's check this watch together. Unboxing is classic Casio. There is nothing you wouldn't expect because there is almost nothing in the box except for the watch. The watch is entirely made of plastic. It looks like and almost feels like resin, but it's a hard plastic. It's got this strong G-Shock vibe, and I like that. It is big, bold, with a lot of protruding bumpers to protect the acrylic glass covering the negative display. It connects to the strap almost seamlessly, and it continues the G-Shock vibe here too. The resin strap is one of those that doesn't allow the watch to lay flat. It's one of the bumpy design ones, just like on G-Shock, to further protect the watch in case of fall. And this strap is actually surprisingly good. For the price, almost shockingly good. It's not stiff, it feels good quality. There are these ridges to help your skin breathe and more importantly to keep the keeper from sliding all over the place. On a watch for 30 something euros. Hardware is plastic, but it somehow doesn't feel cheap. You know, that kind that you can run over with your car and it's still gonna be okay. The dimensions are 51mm in diameter, 54 lug to lug, and 16mm thick. It sounds like a lot, but that's one of the areas where the watch excels. The variability. It only weighs 58 grams. It almost disappears on your wrist. I know the dimensions sound like a lot on a paper, but it somehow doesn't translate to the wearing experience. It feels and wears a lot smaller. My wrist is 7-inch for your reference, and I don't think that guys with a lot smaller wrist would have issues pulling this off. The buttons are just great. Big, easy to press, they're not cheap feeling. So build and variability, that's the areas where the watch excels. The negative display is just great. Now, if you have aging eyes or the legibility is your number one priority, then get the positive display version. Because that one is hands down the most legible watch ever made. But I can't complain one bit about this negative display either. Yes, it looks a bit sharper when the watch is tilted away from you, but it stays legible no matter what. And the sheer size of the digits. It could easily be used as a dashboard clock or nightstand clock, a house wall clock. Legibility of the time is another area where this watch simply excels. Which gets me neatly to the model inside and the features. So I'm gonna start with the one I absolutely hate, the button sounds. Never in my life I owned a device, phone, watch, Game Boy, anything that had buttons, and I would want to keep the sound of the buttons on. Never happened, and it will never happen. I know that there are some psychopaths that like to let the other people in the room know that they are setting up the alarm or typing the SMS. But I ain't one of them. I turn the sound off on all my Casios, and I will do so on all the Casios I will ever own. I cannot turn it off here. That drives me nuts. I couldn't believe it. I googled in all the forums, all the manuals, and no, apparently no. The button sound is an important design element of this watch for some reason. I can't complain about the set of features on this affordable beast though. You got 5 alarms, you can see which one is on down here, which can come in handy for some people that need a couple of reminders a day, I suppose. You got timer with auto repeat feature, you got stopwatch, dual time, which I gotta say I like, because instead of browsing through countless cities, it just allows you to set the time. Simple as that. Plus it's got this neat feature, just like my Rangeman, where when you long press the mode button, it takes you back to the timekeeping. Cool, genuinely cool. Which gets me to the things that I think this watch doesn't really excel at. Look, there are no deal breakers. For the most part, it behaves just like any other Casio. But what it spoils for me is this thing. This Casio AE-1500, which I picked up recently, and yes, this became my favorite affordable Casio. What I'm talking about the way you can use and control the features. And the thing, I don't understand why it's different on every Casio you pick up. Sometimes it's right, like on my Rangeman, and mostly right, like on this A20, and then just wrong, like here. For instance, you want to set the alarm? You can only use this button to go up. But you cannot use this button to go back in case you pressed it one too many times. Why? Don't know. You can do it on the A20 and Rangeman. Here, you just have to go all the way around again, which is pain in the ass. I know a lot of Casios have it that way, like my G-Shock Square. But I just thought with the purchase of A20 that Casio evolved, that we're past this stupid thing. But no. Why? Why the inconsistency? Maybe I'm being too harsh and maybe these are the things that people just don't care about or are used to. But there is one thing that I almost can't get over, and that's the stopwatch. And that was supposed to be one of the things that this watch would absolutely dominate. But it doesn't. And that giant display and digits are just asking for it. But they don't deliver. That is frustrating. Look what happens in stopwatch mode. The biggest part of the screen, where I would expect minutes and seconds, is actually hours and minutes. What the actual fuck? I am far more likely to measure something in minutes and seconds than hours, Casio. Person who came up with this design deserves a backhand slap right in the face. Seconds are down here, the split seconds up here. Why this isn't hours? Don't know. Look what happens when you press start. Nothing! For the entire minute, it feels like there is nothing happening on the giant display. I promise you, in the gym, every single time I look at the watch, it just instinctively guided my eyes to read the seconds here. Every single time, it takes me a second or two to realize that these are actually minutes. And it felt like the watch has actually stopped. It is so annoying that I have stopped wearing the watch in the gym. The light is okay. Okay, I want to be fair. Maybe I'm just bitching too much because of my personal use case. But I cannot deny the areas where this watch excels. The build, the variability, and that one thing that will be absolutely most important for the most people, the legibility of the time. Nuts. Because there is nothing easier to read than this. Even with this negative display, this thing is absolutely crushing it. It is perfect for a motorbike, for instance. You don't have to squish your eyes to read the time, you just peek and boom. If that is your number one priority, if you need something rugged that can take the beating and is legible like nothing else out there right now, this is your watch. The watch is genuinely good and is worth every penny Casio is asking for it. And that is all I got to say, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, it would mean the world to me. If you didn't like the video, I thank you for watching this far. Please feel free to drop the comments. Have you picked up one of these, or a couple of these? My name is Karel and this is Watch. Till next time. Cheers.